And thank you, Paul, for all of the efforts that you have made. And now it is my honor and great pleasure to introduce the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Paul Ryan. To the top if you want to rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. If you think it's easy doing one night stands, try playing in a rock band.
Oh man. Jeez. What do you say? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm a little embarrassed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please. Please. Thank you. Come on. You want me to hit this thing or what? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Racine, thank you. All right, so, I'm not going to do a Boehner thing here. And I want to watch your time. Let me start with just some facts and some reason, and then I want to take a moment of personal privilege. First off, this is, I think, my 26th RPW convention. I've been coming to these since 1992. I can't tell you how far we have come. It's been an amazing thing to watch. We were really pretty much just a big blue state back in the day. And all of us took a look at where our state and our nation was heading, and every single one of us in this hall, we all did something about it. And that's what this country's about, standing up and doing something when you think things are going wrong so that you can do right. And I just cannot tell you how proud I am, how thankful I am, and how excited I am with this wonderful journey that we have had together, because Wisconsin is strong, America is stronger, and it's because all of us came together to make a big difference in our state and our country, and I thank you for that. We were just over at the Republican Women Lunch, and I was just keying off of Duffy's and talking about election night of 2016. And let me just give you a chronology of things. I remember election night. I was at home. It's about 7:30 at night. Jana and I were about to head over with the kids to the Holiday Inn Express, where we were doing our big victory party. Folks back there, you were there. I see Pam waving her hand there. We were there that night. And a very good friend of ours, a good friend of mine, told me about the exit polling that had come in. And the exit polls, if you now remember, they didn't look very good. The exit polls, made it look like we weren't going to win the White House and we were going to lose the Senate, and just maybe we'd hang on to the House. So apparently what happened that night is a whole bunch of Americans, by the millions, went into the voting booth, pulled their ticket for a Republican for the Senate, for the House, and for Donald Trump, and then left and told the exit pollster they did the opposite. So we were watching the returns roll in that night, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Kenosha County started coming in strong. I mean, it was coming in stronger than I had seen it come in really ever up and down the ticket. And we were looking at our numbers, we were looking at Ron Johnson's numbers, at Donald Trump's numbers, and we said, oh my gosh, let's go look at some other counties around the state. Marathon County and Price County and LaCroix County, all over the state, Brown County. And we thought to ourselves, wow, Ron Johnson's going to win. It's pretty exciting. And then we look over and we see, wait a second, Donald Trump's going to win Wisconsin. And then we were talking to ourselves, wait a second, Donald Trump's going to win Wisconsin. Well, what about, Pennsylvania or Michigan or Ohio and the rest of the country, states kind of like Wisconsin? And that's when we decided to turn our TV from the war room we had from Fox News over to CNN and MSNBC because we wanted to watch the expressions on their faces. And it ended up being a great night. Wasn't it? And so fast forward a little bit later, and one of my closest friends in Congress, a guy I did Bible study with for about 10 years on Wednesday mornings, a guy named Mike Pence, good friend of mine, good man. We'd been talking, and we decided let's get together early, right after the election, and merge forces. And we went and sat down with the then president and vice president-elect and walked through the agenda, walked through the Better Way agenda that we in the House had rallied around and organized on and run on. Because if you remember, and Jim kind of alluded to it, I wasn't looking for the job as Speaker of the House. I actually had achieved the job I was looking for, Chairman of Ways and Means Committee. And out of a sense of duty, I took the job and believed that it had to be done, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. But I did it on basically two conditions. Number one, we as a party have got to stand for something. We have to have a plan. We have to be the proposition party, not just the opposition party. What I was worried about is, what if we win it all and we don't have a plan? I mean, we do not want to waste the first year of a brand new Republican presidency and a Republican Congress looking to see what to do then. We wanted to be ready to go. We wanted to be ready with a plan of action to go take action to get this country on the right track. That was condition one. And the other condition, which I'll talk about a little bit later here, was family. I'm the youngest guy in this job since something like 1860-something. Some guy named Blaine. So with kids at home, it's a pretty hard job for that. It's a good job for empty nesters. It's not the right kind of job for people with kids at home because you're always on the road. So it was important for me to be home at least on weekends. And so fast forward, we walked the president through the plan that we had run on. He said, I love it, add infrastructure to it, and I'm in. And so we laid out a painstaking plan of attack for this session of Congress. And I just want to walk you through exactly where we are and what the results of that are. Number one, in the House of Representatives, we've passed well over 500 bills since Donald Trump took his hand off the Bible and became president of the United States. We have done things big and we have done things small. And as Jim alluded to, and it's certainly not Ron's fault, wherever Ron is, the crazy filibuster means over 400 of those bills are still sitting stuck in the United States Senate because of Chuck Schumer and his filibusters. But even with that, we have gotten a ton of things done. First on our list was rein in this hyper-regulatory state of unelected bureaucrats trying to micromanage our society and our economy. There's this thing called the Congressional Review Act. It's a legislative tool that cannot be filibustered. You can repeal a recent regulation. In this case, Obama went nuts on regulations at the end of his term, just kicked regulations out. This law, you can repeal a regulation, and repealing that cannot be filibustered. It was done once in the prior 20 years. As of last week, we have done 16 in-law, signed into law, Obamacare regulations gone. That is real regulatory relief. So our regulatory relief agenda is well on its way. And one of the big benefits of it is just look around the economy. Look at the energy sector itself. Because we've lifted the ban on crude oil exports, because we've got ANWR, because we have regulatory certainty, we now have discovered in just one little part of Texas, Midland, Texas, an oil field we can get at that is now larger than the Saudi Arabian oil field, and that's just in Texas. We are dominating as a country. Our regulatory reform is working, and we are turning jobs back on in this country. The next thing was, as Jim mentioned, I'm a passionate believer in reforming our entitlement systems so that our kids and our grandkids get a debt-free country, so that we can make the promises government had been making. And Obamacare is a complete disaster. So we did pass that bill, which is a massive entitlement reform bill. We passed that bill to repeal and replace Obamacare, which would have driven down premiums. But unfortunately, it failed by a vote in the United States Senate. But we didn't let that daunt us. We didn't let that knock us off course. We decided, okay, we're going to go to an incremental plan. And so since then, we've repealed the individual mandate. That's in law. We've repealed their price-controlling body called the Independent Payment Advisory Board. That's in law. And we're going down the path, and we're going to be doing more things in healthcare, letting small businesses buy together in nationwide buying pools and the rest. So we're going to keep prosecuting this entitlement reform and healthcare reform issue because that is what the country deserves. That's what people want. We then set our sights on another thing we could get around the filibuster, and that was tax reform. And as Jim mentioned, the tax reform we did wasn't just the first time we've done tax reform since 1986. It was really the biggest tax reform since we have seen in any of our lifetimes. It was far more profound than the 1981 tax reform or the 1986 tax reform. It was far more comprehensive. Not only do families in Wisconsin get an average of $2,500 back on their taxes starting this year, not only do we double the standard deduction, not only do almost 9 out of 10 people get to fill out their taxes on a simplified system, not only does the child tax credit get doubled, but we have changed the way businesses are taxes, so guess what? They stay in America. They stay here in this country. They build more things. So we're seeing hundreds of billions of dollars coming back into this country from overseas because of our tax laws. We're seeing massive investments occurring in factories expanding and workers going back to work. We are seeing America being in the driver's seat again. We had the worst tax code in the industrialized world, and now we have one of the top 3 in the industrialized world because of Republicans in Congress and Donald Trump. So we've moved on to go fix our military because, as you know, like the president promised that we ran on, we had to save our military. Those Obama sequesters really hollowed out our military. We lost 80 service members last year to equipment failures and training accidents because of a readiness crisis in our military. So that's where we went to next. And guess what? That is now done. It's the law of the land. We are rebuilding our military. We're giving the men and women who put their lives and necks on the line for us the honor that they deserve and the resources that they need to keep us safe. So now we have Donald Trump sitting down with the North Korean dictator with the most powerful military the world has ever seen and will ever see. That is what Republicans do when we get in charge. We made that promise and we kept that promise. And now we want to go make sure that we get people to where they want to get in life. We have been talking about our plans as conservatives, as Republicans, for fighting poverty and restoring upward mobility, for closing that skills gap and that opportunity gap for so long. We're actually doing it. Opportunity Zone, something that I worked on 25 years ago with Jack Kemp, is now law of the land. These are private sector solutions to get people from welfare to work, to get people out of poverty. We're bringing a welfare reform and workforce development bill through that says, number 1, 2-year school is cool again in America. Number 2, get rid of the bureaucracy, send those, controlling those dollars back to our state and localities so that our technical college can join with our employers and give people the skills they need to get the jobs they want. Because guess what? There are 6.6 million jobs open in America today. And there are 12 million men and women in America today, able-bodied, don't have little kids, who aren't working, who aren't looking for work, who are not in school. We have got to pull people from the sidelines into the workforce. We've got to help people get off of welfare into the workforce. And that is what we're going to be doing. We're basically saying, if you're an able-bodied person, you're receiving food stamps, this isn't a forever thing, it's a conditional thing. You got to work or go to school. We'll cover the cost of school. It's not tough love, it's smart love. It is getting people from where they are to where we want them to be. You see, we've had this idea that some people in society should just stay right where they are. You know, the government's here to help you cope with your station in life, just stay put. That's not the American idea. That's not what we believe. That's not what this country or this state is built on. Everybody can make it in this country. The condition of your birth doesn't determine the outcome of your life. That's our creed, it's our credo, it's our belief system, it's our values. And that's what we're fighting for right now. And you see, the things that we've been doing, whether it's overhauling the regulatory state, getting people from welfare to work, making sure that people get the skills they need to get the jobs they want, reforming the tax system, all of this is happening in an economy the likes we haven't seen in a long, long time. The jobless rate in America is at a 48-year low. The unemployment rate in America, we haven't seen this number since the year 2000. The African American unemployment rate, the Hispanic American unemployment rate, it's the lowest since we've measured it. 57% of Americans think we're going in the right direction. Here's the point. Here's the point. It's working. These ideas work. We took our principles, we fought for our principles, we put them on paper, we passed them in a law, and now we're seeing the fruits of that labor. And the blue wave, as they say it, they want to take it all away. Nancy Pelosi just said the other day she is campaigning on a promise to raise your taxes. She's campaigning on a promise to take back all of this. We're not going to let that happen, are we? So the point is, we have done so much in so short a time. And that is why I am so proud of the men and women that I've done this with, that I've worked with. I am so proud of my friend and my dean, Jim Sensenbrenner, who's been with us from here and back. I am proud of Glenn Grothman, of Sean Duffy, of Mike Gallagher. These are men who are going and fighting with us in the trenches to get these things done. I am so proud of what Mike Pence said the other day. We have the best governor in the country, Scott Walker. I am so proud that he is joined by one of our state's best cheerleader, the capable Becky Clayfish. I am so proud that in this opioid epidemic that we are all rolling up our sleeves and fighting, we've got the nation's leader in our Attorney General, Brad Schimmel. I am so proud of what he's doing. I am so proud that when I get frustrated with the United States Senate, I have a person, a voice of reason who agrees with us, who's actually voting the way we all want in Ron Johnson. And I am so proud that we are going to send him somebody else, and it ain't going to be Tammy Baldwin, to join him in the Senate next year. There's a lot to be proud about. There's so much to be proud about. And that leads me to the final part of this. I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you for just the opportunity. I want to thank you for the friendship. I mean, I look around here and I think I probably recognize 60 to 70% of your faces. We have done so much together for so long. I'm just so thankful. Thankful for the opportunity that you have placed in me, especially the people in the 1st District. Thankful for the chance to serve in this beautiful state, in this great, wonderful country. And thankful for having the chance to take this agenda, these things we believe in, and marshal them through into law and see the difference being made. And as I come full circle on this, I'm very grateful, I'm very proud. But at the end of the day, when your guy who's been there for 20 years and your kids are 13, 14, and 16, the thing I am most proud about is being a husband and being a dad. And that is why I need to be more than just a weekend dad. And I'm going to do this knowing that we have made a big difference, knowing that our future is bright, knowing that our philosophy and our principles work, and knowing that our best days are yet ahead of us. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, from coming to RPW conventions on the banks of the Mississippi over in La Crosse since 1992 to today. God bless you and thank you so, so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it.
So we're Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm good.
So we're calling a bit of an audible here, and I'm pleased to be joined by obviously our outstanding congressional delegation, Republican delegation here from the great state of Wisconsin. Wow, Paul Ryan, what a great champion. First and foremost, for the people of the 1st Congressional District. I grew up there in Walworth County. I know what a powerful impact he's had for now nearly 2 decades. For Rock County, for Walworth County, for Kenosha County, for Racine County, over the years adding both Waukesha and Milwaukee County, I know how much the people of the 1st Congressional District appreciate the leadership and the empathy and the dedication of Congressman Paul Ryan, now Speaker Paul Ryan. But we've been pleased over the years to see that we not only see him as a leader in the 1st District, he has for years, long before he was Speaker, been a champion for the state of Wisconsin as a whole. And I think in his latest role as Speaker, we've particularly seen it. Paul mentioned it, but I think it is worth repeating so you can repeat that number. As Speaker, he helped the Congress pass and the President then sign a tax reform and relief package that provides a typical family in this state. The typical taxpayer in this state receives $2,508 in tax relief because of this plan, just for families in the state of Wisconsin. 2 parents working, 2 kids at home, that typical tax-paying family. And that's remarkable because you think about the career of Paul Ryan long before he was elected. Thinking back to, many of us remember Bob Caston, that great U.S. Senator who gave Paul one of his first jobs, a great Republican in his own right who came in 1980 as part of the Reagan Revolution. You think then about my friend and now a former governor, but Sam Brownback, who was in Congress and the Senate and the governor, who gave Paul a chance to shine as well on top of that, but particularly when he went to go work for Bill Bennett and specifically Jack Kemp. You think about the inspiration that Jack Kemp was for Paul. You see it today, and I think it is remarkable. If you know anything about history, you go back to August 13th of 1981, when Ronald Reagan out at his ranch signed the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981 that brought about the first wave of relief that saw one of the longest sustained periods of economic growth in American history. That happened because it was the Kemp-Roth tax bill. How remarkable to think that Jack Kemp helped lead the way for President Ronald Reagan, just like Speaker Paul Ryan led the way for Donald Trump to sign one of the most substantial economic packages in American history. And so we thought it was important today to say thank you on behalf of the people of the 1st Congressional District. Thank you on behalf of the people of the great state of Wisconsin. Thank you on behalf of Republicans here in this state and all across the country. But most importantly, thank you to Speaker Paul Ryan on behalf of Americans all over this great country. Because in Washington, oftentimes, for those who ascend to some of the highest positions in our federal government, there are all too often 2 kinds of people. One we see more often than not are people who aspire to be great. There's only a few who aspire to do great things. I think we've seen time and time again that Paul Ryan is exactly that kind of leader. His district, this state, and this country are better off because of his time in office. And so on behalf of not only the delegation here, but all of us in the state of Wisconsin, we want to say to Paul Ryan, who's been the congressman now for 2 decades in the 1st Congressional District. You're number one in our hearts. Thank you for being a great leader for America.
Hey, thanks, buddy.